one of our elders who loves to do displays made out in the room, and that will break down everything that we did for you. I just want to share with you kind of the spirit of what we did. We had our longest session meeting ever the night that we did the Bible study. We're known for having very short and sweet session meetings at Wood Hall, about an hour tops, sometimes an hour, 10 minutes. And so we met for about 2.5 hours the night that we did that Bible study, and over half of that time was spent in Bible study, and it was a powerful moment. We actually had someone walk into the building that night, and if any of you know us, our town is right off of the interstate, but we are not the most noticeable church. We don't have a steeple, and we're kind of in a neighborhood, and so you don't really see us unless you drive by. And this gentleman happened to pull into the parking lot, and he came in the building, and he said, "I'm really sorry to bother you, but I need to get home. I've got about 20 more miles. I lost my wallet in Peoria. I had set it on the car when I was paying for my gas. Took off, went back after I realized that what I had done, found my cell phone but not my wallet. I just need a couple dollars to get in my gas tank so I can get home, where I can take care of everything." And we said, "Sure, go ahead, go on up to the gas station." I wrote a little note to the gas station attendant so they'd know that he wasn't lying. And I said, "Fill your tank up and we'll be on your way." And so when he left, we sat around thinking, "Oh my goodness, wow, this was a moment. We could have just handed in the $100 and we would have been done with it." But even with gas prices being what they were, the man only put 1 gallon of gas in his car and he drove home. So it was a bit of an inspiration for us. But we didn't know that for another couple days. But anyway, after he had left, our elders, who I would say the majority of our elders on the session right now do not like to speak in public. They don't like to stand in front of the congregation. They will let me do that over and over again willingly. And they said, "Let's lead worship. Let's do it. Let's just lead worship, and let's teach the congregation this parable that we have spent this night learning about." And once we do that, then they're going to be inspired to do something just like we're inspired to do something. So my elders led worship, and I was so proud of them. And they had lots of non-speaking parts for those people who don't like to speak. And once they led worship, they let the congregation then decide how we were going to spend that $100. And so after a month of having a box out to take suggestions, we called a congregational meeting, and we had this congregational meeting, and we had several suggestions about how to raise money and how to spend money. And at this congregational meeting, and they came from all generations. We had some that were written by little kids, with their big handwriting, and so that was really sweet that even they thought of that. And so at this congregational meeting, we decided that we were going to do everything. We were going to do the 4 fundraisers, and we were going, well, at the time it was 3. We had a rain day, so we wound up having to add 1 in. But do the 4 fundraisers and then split that money among the 4 ways that we could spend the money, which you can read on our board. The next amazing thing was when we called for a committee, and 11 people volunteered. 11 people, and they spanned from our teenagers to our older adults. And so we had no problem. I said, I need somebody who's going to do this because I can't. 2 people jumped up and said, "We'll head the committee," and then 9 other people said, "We want to be a part of it." So we then took off with that. It has been amazing, and it was such an exciting experience that the committee asked if we could do it again next year. So we are looking at a long-term committee in our congregation, in the life of our congregation. So every year we're going to try and figure out a way to use $100 in a different way. So I invite you to stop by. I brought a couple elders so they can answer some of your questions, and I'll be happy to answer your questions as well. So thank you.
to us. We spent our first session meeting coming up with ideas of what we could do with that $100. And after a lot of discussion, we decided to have a community garden. And the first obstacle was of course to find the land. And fortunately, a retired farmer in our congregation had land that he was not using, and he was looking for a way to help the community. And he caught wind of our idea and donated as much land as we wanted to use. And not only did he have the land for us, he also had planted some green beans and some corn and some pumpkins early in the season and wasn't able to keep up with those, so he gave us those plants as well. And on his property were about 5 or 6 apple trees that he donated. So we had planting meetings and got ready to go, and our first planting date was July 31st, which is pretty late in the growing season, but we went ahead with it, and it's been a wonderful process. We've had a big group of people, about 25 people, who have actively participated every week. We met 2 times each week for about an hour, and we divided into 2 groups, and one group would tend to the new seeds that we had planted and the new plants and did hoeing and watering and weeding, and then another group would go to the part that was planted earlier, and some of those weeds were like huge, much bigger than the green bean plants that they were covering up, and we spent some time reclaiming those. And shortly into the project, we hit our next obstacle was what to do with the plants once we had plants and ready to go, vegetables ready to go. So we contacted the food pantry, which is already established in Lincoln, and they were more than happy to accept whatever donations that we had. So there were many weeks where we showed up with a van full of sweet corn or a van full of apples. One week we had several hundred pounds of green beans. There's just all kinds of things that we were able to donate to them, and that was very much appreciated by the needy in Lincoln. The beauty of this project is that what we did this year is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't think a week goes by that someone in our congregation doesn't come up and say, we could try this next year, or wanting to know what plans have been made, or just recalling good moments about working together in the garden. So it's been a wonderful project for us, a fellowship opportunity, a mission opportunity, and for the community. And it's a project that we're already making plans for next year, and hopefully it will go on for many years to come. So I thank you to the Presbytery for the $100 gift, which inspired this project.